Hello, everybody, and welcome to SoulCast, episode 4, with the illustrious and wonderful Kayane. How are you doing today, Kayane?
Hello, I'm doing well. What about you?
I'm doing so much better, thanks to having being able to speak to you today. So,
Oh, my pleasure.
so we actually only have about an hour with Kayane because she does have a prior engagement. So we will make this as quick as possible. We'll bash through these questions and then we'll let you go. How does that sound?
Oh, that's fine to me. But it's 1 hour, but it can be a bit more. It depends of my dinner plan.
Yeah,
That's fine. That's all right.
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Mhm.
So we have a series of questions, as regulars of the podcast know. Usually, what we try and do is get a bit of background about the Soul Calibur player. But
Mhm.
because we only have a limited time, I really want to get stuck into your Soul Calibur journey, what you love about the game, how you feel about the game, and any potential new things that you think could be added in the future.
Well, I started the game when I was 7 years old. I remember it was Soul Calibur 1 on Dreamcast, and my brothers, they were both Tekken champions. And I was not really interested in Tekken because I felt it was too rigid and I didn't feel like I was moving well. So I wanted a game that was more faster. And when I've seen Soul Calibur, I was like, oh my God, I'm moving so fast. And everything I want to do with the character, I just can't do it. And I discovered Fa. That was
Mhm.
my crush. Really, she was my crush because she well, I was 7 years old, so when I see her, I wanna look like her when I would be 16.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, she was my model. So that's how I started the game. I actually fell in love with her. I really love this atmosphere, the medieval, fantastic, epic music. Every character is so beautiful, so charismatic, and the music, especially the music, is amazing. And I always loved video games music back then. So everything was epic in this game, and I played so much on it. Every mode that we could do in the solo mode, it was so complete. So I spent hours and hours in this game, and that's how I really started with that before getting in touch with the community. Then my brothers booked me to tournaments, and that's where I met DTN, Hayate, Saito, and most of the people I grew up with. I'm still friends with them today. So that's so funny to see that 20 years after, we are still here talking and training all together. So that's amazing to see that the
20
community,
years.
yeah, the family is a real family. That's incredible to see that we are still friends thanks to this game. And every time that a new game is going to be released or a new character, we understand each other. It's not the kind of things that you can say to other friends out of this Soul Calibur world. When you talk about a new character, they're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter for their life," but to us, it means the world.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
even when Hilda got announced, everybody went insane. People who didn't even like Hilda in Soul Calibur 4 and 5 were like, oh my god, this character's coming back. And everybody was like messaging their friends, DMing on Discord and Twitter, just saying
Yeah.
that just the game is just continually being supported, and we all love it. And like you said, we want it to be a family. And some of us haven't been playing for 20 years in that kind of community setting. But even people who have only played Soul Calibur 6, like shout out to Milos, for example, he is well ingrained in the culture already, and dare I
Mm.
say, part of the Soul Calibur family.
Yeah, actually, the game is so different compared to previous ones. It's refreshing. So you can see a lot of players that started with 6 or 5 and doing very well in the game now. So even Linkor, Sporty Wolf, Blue God, they are the champions in America that started around 5, at the end of Soul Calibur 5, and
Yeah.
now we see them always on the top and in Soul Calibur 6. And I think even Yutoto, it's the same kind of story, and it gives hope to see that even if you're new to the game, if you're dedicated enough to it, then you can really improve and also beat people like me that was here 20 years ago, because it's so different too. And sometimes we play like before when you don't have to play like before to be strong, and sometimes it's hard to just adapt to something new because we were so used to something that worked before. And I feel like at every generation you can have different different champions, different top players. And the top players we see here, there's a lot of new names compared to Soul Calibur 5 or 4. And some players that were in 4, they try to play 6, but well, it's funny, when they try to play 6, they played like the old times. They don't use sword charge, they don't use super, they just play with normal moves, but it's not
Yes.
working anymore. It's not enough to make damage. So it's funny to see this kind of gap between generations.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I started in Soul Calibur 2, and some people may have even started with the Soul Blade or Soul Edge. And the
Mm,
games have come so far that you definitely have to adapt, especially from 2, 3, 4, and 5, where they all had very either similar mechanics, but they worked a bit differently. So, GI changed from the rest of the series in 5, where it cost meter. Um, in
yeah,
4, you had the critical finishes, which work completely differently to critical edges in this game, and how they work completely different in 5. The
yeah,
Brave Edge system, which only exists for Yoshi in Soul Calibur 6, was everybody in Soul Calibur 5. So,
yeah,
like you
sure.
say, the legacy skill transfers to a degree, but sometimes people just can't adapt if they've been playing for years and years and years.
It takes time to just adapt. Actually, I feel like yeah, the old generations, we grow up. Sometimes they have families. They don't have the time to adapt to all these things.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
if
you
you have a
have a
child, perhaps
focus.
Soul Calibur
Yeah,
adaptation isn't high on your priority
yeah.
list.
You have a soul charge combos, you have wall combos, you have a wall combos with soul charge, you have reversal age, you have so many stuff going on now. And I feel like it's like my oldest brother, he's 11 years older than me. He now has 2 sons.
Wow.
And he's still playing old school, and sometimes it's so hard for him to just use a soul charge, and he doesn't punish correctly. Sometimes he he doesn't have the time to adapt and to know everything about the game, to punish everything perfectly. And especially with every patch going on, sometimes you just don't have the time to get to know what are the changes for every character. Even myself, it's so hard to just read all the new patch notes and then
Yeah, for
try it
sure.
myself. And yeah, sometimes you don't have the time to play against every player that is strong with their own character and ask what has changed. So sometimes you just figure it out in tournaments, and sometimes it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like this when I played JJJ at NEC. It was already hard for me to understand Amy season 1, but then I've seen some crazy things with Amy season 2. I was like, what? And by the time I understand what's happening, I lost. Even if it was close, I felt like, oh god, if I knew that before, maybe I could have been stronger in this match. But sometimes you just don't have the time anyway. And the patch was released the same week, so sometimes, yeah, you just don't have enough time in one day to play as much as you would like.
Yeah, season 2 dropping, and then we had that whole massive debate on Twitter with NEC about should it be season 2 that gets played? Should Hilda be tournament legal? And you're not gonna get a consistent answer from everybody in the community, but I feel like more people were happy that they got to try out season 2 versions of characters at a tournament level, at possibly the biggest tournament in America,
Mm.
um, but not let Hilda in because nobody
Uh,
knows what she was capable of.
yeah, we don't know yet, but I think it was fine to me to travel to US and discover this all season two things with everybody. But I understand some players didn't want to have season two. But when you try a season, a new world season with new combos and new moves, and for even 3 days, it's enough to not want to go back to season one.
Yeah, of
So I
course.
felt fine with this, but of course, if it's about a whole new character, because Hilde is gonna be very different from previous version, because every character has changed, and it was too soon to know the character. So I understand the decision.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense to be honest. I mean,
Mm.
so you started, like you said, when you were 7 years old, which is incredible to me. When did you start traveling outside of France to compete in tournaments?
So my first tournament abroad was Evo 2009.
Oh wow,
Uh,
straight to the big leagues. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah, no experience in traveling and going directly to the best and and the biggest tournament in the world, that is Evo. And back then it was not as there was not that much streamings, so you just hear about Evo and you don't have image of what is it exactly,
Hmm.
because streaming just started back then. You had the finals on stream, but that's it. You don't
Yeah.
have a war every day on stream, and it was just the start, the beginning of I think fighting games in esport, and trying to be professional.
Hmm.
And even since then, Evo was so famous and just so popular and prestigious, that every player, their dream was to go to Evo. And we didn't know about any other big tournament in US back then. It's mostly Evo for the mind of every player
Evo is the
worldwide.
be all and end all, the top, top, top.
Yeah, that's just amazing like this. So when I went there, I felt a lot of pressure, of course. I didn't know what to expect, and I found a lot of American players, and I was just starting to speak English outside of school. So that was the first time I was talking to people in English, and yeah, my French accent back then was worse, and and it's funny because people made a lot of fun of me. I tried very hard to speak to people, but yeah, some told me, yeah, I understand you, and others told me, what the fuck is she saying?
Well, I mean,
So
I think we
it
can all
was.
agree that your English is pretty damn good now.
Oh yeah, I'm so happy about this now. Also, it was so hard to understand accents. So yeah, depending on
Yeah.
where you come from, oh my god, it was so hard to understand some players. It's still hard today to understand some players, but I think that most of them I understand. Yeah, and besides this language barrier, it was a lot of pressure, and it was my first time handling it. And I remember that in pool I was in the Saito, KDZ, and Alpha Male's pool, and Alpha Male was Linkar Casey's little brother.
Oh wow.
Yes, and I played him in losers final of my pool, and I lost. It was
No.
I lost. I was 9, and I felt so depressed after that, like very depressed,
Hmm.
so sad because I don't know if you played Soccer before.
I did.
So back then, you remember when you break the guard, you just press A plus B plus K, and then
Break
you
a finisher.
have you finish the round, and that's what happened to me.
No,
And
no
Al-
way.
yeah, last round, Alpha Male played Voldo, and back then Voldo, yeah, he just put so much damage on your guard, and you just want to guard all day, and if even if you have a good guard, doesn't mean that you're gonna win. You're gonna lose the round if it's shining red and if he breaks it, and that's what he did. So
Goddamn
I
Baldo.
really hated this system because even if you go out correctly, even if you survive the whole round,
Yeah.
if you just protect all the time, then you're not gonna win. You're gonna lose because of this system, and I felt so bad about this. And yeah, that was the one of the saddest moments of my life
Oh no.
because it was my first trip ever in a Soul Calibur tournament. I wanted to prove the world back then that I was one of the most dedicated player in the game,
Mhm.
and not being able to play on stage and on stream, I felt like I really missed my chance. And then 1 year after, I went to Evo 2010 for the Street Fighter 4 female tournament, and I was by myself.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so after 1 year, it was kind of hard to imagine myself like traveling by myself, no friends, no family, nobody.
That's
And
insane.
yeah, and it was a very good experience for me. I actually never see that many female players before, and because it was a female tournament, there was like 64 female players in Street Fighter 4. That's a very good record.
That's
And
great, yeah.
yeah, you had to participate to the mixed tournaments too, if you do that. So I felt like they integrated female players instead of excluding them compared to some other games that do female only tournaments. They keep female players on these female tournaments, but then they don't have the time to participate to the mixed tournaments. But here they made the planning, they made the planning so that you can participate to both. So I felt it was a really good idea, and winning this one made me very famous, I think,
Hmm.
in international. But then you have a Soul Calibur player that say she was a long time Soul Calibur player just before being a Street Fighter player. So-
You had
and I was like,
betrayed your Soul
yeah,
Calibur brethren.
yeah, because most of the people in America, I think they didn't know me except the Soul Calibur community. And it's funny because most of them they thought that I started with Street Fighter, but no, I was always a Soul Calibur player.
Yeah, I mean, we all know you for Soul Calibur. You're on a Soul Calibur podcast. You stream Soul Calibur a lot of the time. Aside from yesterday, which I think you were playing Smash, weren't you?
Yeah, I am learning Smash. It's amazing actually. Because I actually love fighting games in general, but Soul Calibur is my favorite by far. And I try Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Samurai Shodown, Dead or Alive. Didn't try Guilty Gear Blaze Blue, but I tried Dragon Ball Fighters from Arc System, and then the only fighting game that I was very curious about, but I had zero experience on, it was Smash Bros. So I tried that
Hmm.
like yesterday. It was my first time with a Smash box because the French community offered me that. It's so cool from the Smash Bros. French community.
That is amazing.
They're so amazing to me. I didn't know them. Just a few players that I know, the most famous, and those that travel to commentate, and those that are a bit outside of the Smash community. And I didn't expect this kind of surprise and gifts because it's expensive and they don't know me, but they did that to me, and I felt it was so amazing, and it made me love the community a lot. So when I tried the game with a Smashbox, I really felt that it could be one of my favorite games too because
Hmm.
the feelings when I play it on a like a arcade stick, it's so fun. And also I put the buttons like my Soul Calibur layout on the deck. So I'm playing
Yes.
Lucina with a sword, and I'm like, yeah, Soul Calibur feelings.
Oh my god, she's basically the Zhonghua of Smash. You've gone from
Yeah,
one game to another, and you're playing the same character. It's amazing.
Yes, I want to play her a lot because I love Fire Emblem and I love this character.
Nice.
She has a sword and I can have a shield, just like a guard button in Soul Calibur. So I'm like feeling playing Soul Calibur in Smash. It's kind of weird to say that, but I felt it this way.
That's incredible. So if you were to stop playing Soul Calibur, I know that would that would make a lot of people cry if you left Soul
Oh,
Calibur. But if you
oh,
had
never.
to, what other fighting game would you go to out of, all the games you've played? Tekken,
Um,
Smash, Samsho, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter.
I would say Tekken because it's kind of familiar to what I know for 3D game.
Hmm.
And I love the Tekken community and hype and story. I was never a Tekken player before. Like my brothers always played Tekken, and they were champions in this game like 20 years ago, and I was never attracted. When Tekken 7 was released, I felt that it was faster, more attractive, very fun to watch and play, and I don't know, I felt better when playing it than the previous ones. And also they have some stylish, very stylish characters. Like I love Xiaoyu, I love Alisa. They even had Noctis and Negan, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah,
You
the
can
Tekken
play.
guest characters are out of this world.
It's so crazy. You can play G's against Noctis or Negan in the Final Fantasy 15 stage with Chocobo. With Yoko Shimomura music. I'm like, what? Only happening in Tekken.
Yeah, only Tekken. Bandai Namco know how to do guest characters right. And in Tekken, they just threw money at Harada and Michael Murray and said, here are the characters that you want. Put them in your game.
Yeah, that's so nice. I really love the guest characters they could get from Bandai Namco. Even for Caliber 6, having Guard and 2B. That's amazing. That's the two best guests that I could have asked.
Oh, really? So is there anybody that you would have preferred or that you're hoping
No,
for? Or literally Geralt and 2B are just your
I
favorites?
love them. I'm a big Witcher 3 fan, like a very big one. And when I didn't even think of any guest character, but when Geralt happened to be the first announced with a epic music with the Karamoran stage, I was like, oh my god, they did it, and it's so obvious because Witcher 3 is Bandai Namco edited. So I was like, yeah, it's so perfect. And I always wanted to have Lynette from Valkyrie Profile. That she's from Square Enix, and I don't know if
Okay, yeah.
many player actually know this game, but I really love this one, and I felt that she could be in the game because it fits the universe. But then I don't know why. When I've seen Okubo at Evo 2018, I asked about 2B because I just finished New Automata. I just finished this game, and I was like, yeah. Can you think? Have you played New Automata? I say, yeah, it's a really nice game. I say, what about 2B in the game?
Oh my god. So it's your fault. You're the reason we
No,
have
it's not
2B in
my
the
fault. It's
game.
thanks to me. Yeah. Actually, it's funny because he said that it was already in discussion before that I asked that, but the fact that I asked this in an interview and seeing that actually many people, many fans, who were wanted it to have her too in the game, so it pushed the discussion forward with Square Enix and Yoko Taro,
Hmm.
and then they finally made it like a few months later. It's crazy because it came faster than I thought it could go.
Yeah.
When I asked this, it was in January. She was released in December. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I know in between Japanese companies, it can take so much time just for the discussion, and then you have to create the whole character and moves that maybe she doesn't have in your automata. You need to to ask Square Enix and Yoko Taro if it's fine, if the way she moves and she hates, it is fine, is it okay compared to what they expected? And yeah, it worked really well, and I'm so happy about this. And also they needed a stage, they needed a new music,
Yeah.
and they made it with a Nier Automata composer, so he had to make a new song, well, a remix of a song City Runes. But yeah, they needed to work a lot on her, and I'm so happy with what they
Hmm.
did. And now you have Haomaru coming soon too.
Yeah, I am such a big Samsho fan. I've played it for a long time, and when Haomaru got announced, I went insane.
Yeah, it's so amazing. It's so well done. I mean, it's crazy.
Clap,
You
clap
know
to
that
Okubo and the team. Clap, clap.
Yeah, but it's so funny because Samurai Shodown was released a few months ago, but then in July there was the Japan Expo, which is the
Hmm.
biggest anime convention in France, and you have a lot of Japanese producers, scenarists. Coming to this Japan Expo so that they can promote their new anime or video games. And I had the chance to host interview on stage with a Samurai Shodown producer and a character designer. And then when I asked the question on stage, I said, you have many SNK characters in various fighting games. You even have them in Tekken. You have them in Dead or Alive.
Hmm.
How come there's no Samurai Showdown in Soul Calibur
Okay,
yet?
so literally, Kayane asks for something, and Bamco put it in Soul Calibur. So get
They
your
do
requests
it.
in now, guys. Whatever character she asks for next will
I
be the
don't
next
know
two
how.
characters.
I don't know how it happens that I guess. It's maybe just because I feel like it would be nice, but they thought it would be nice too, or a long time before me. But then I have a chance to ask the question. But then, of course, the director said, "Oh, that's true. We never did that. But if Bandai Namco asks, maybe we can talk about this." And I'm like, and then one month later, because it was in July, and then in August, I see the announcement on stage, and I see Nobuyuki, the director of Samurai Shodown and SNK. I see him at Evo, and I said, "So you actually hide it, it's secret." He said, "Yeah, I had to, but yeah, you guessed right." I'm like, "Wow, it's amazing anyway." But it's so funny because when I asked this question on stage, I was like, he hid it so well. He didn't
Mm.
smile. He didn't say anything weird. He I didn't
Probably
expect it.
because I bet you any money, it wasn't because he already had plans to put Halmaru in Soul Calibur. He put Halmaru in Soul Calibur after you suggested it. You're like, we
uh,
need an SNK character, and they were like, sure, give him Halmaru.
yeah, give her. She asked for it.
Yeah, exactly. The next time, if you go to any anime conventions, guys, or any gaming conventions, and you see a booth with the director of the game there, go up to them and ask them to put their character in Soul Calibur 6, because it might
Yeah,
happen.
you know what? I'm gonna ask that. I asked Okubo, can you
God.
please put Guts or Griffith from Berserk, please? And he said, it's not gonna happen. I'm like, no, I'm so sad. So I said, what about Saber from Fate's Day Night? And then he said, well, it's true that they never thought about anime characters.
Mm.
So I'm like, yeah, it's gonna happen. She would be amazing. But
That
then
is true.
it's really, I think it's really hard. Like the anime industry is very different.
Oh yeah, the
Like,
2D anime fighter games are just so different to all of the
mm,
Bandai 3D games. I mean, it is possible, like with Akuma and Geese and that other one in Tekken. So it is possible, but it requires a lot more work to make your character work in a 3D environment.
yes, it's yeah, maybe they would not accept because it's it's fine when it's a game that is really anime like. just like the Guilty Gear.
Hmm.
You can definitely see Saber from Face the Night in there, but in a game like Soul Calibur, I don't know if the anime industry would like to see Saber in a Soul Calibur design. you know, it's gonna change a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. So, I mean, you kind of already answered my first two questions just in general conversation. So, you know what?
Oh,
I don't need those two questions now. Um, so I'll just move on to the third one.
wow.
What inspired you to create the Soul Calibur community website?
That's a good question actually, because I felt that first of all, I think it was a need for me, because when I wanted to look after events informations like tournaments results,
Hmm.
tournaments videos, VOD informations about players, and I couldn't find it, even me. So me that has followed like pretty much all the players, competitive players Twitter accounts. If I can't find the information, it means that someone that is interested but not really into the community yet cannot find this information. If it's hard for me, then it it's impossible for them. So
Yeah.
I felt like we needed a website that would gather all these informations easily, where everybody that is interested in to getting into the community, that wants to see what happened in the last tournament, uh, to see some players portraits, pictures, any information that is community related. They needed a site for that, and I felt that making this site would probably help a lot the community, and I think even the sponsored players, because you know that when you post something on Twitter, like sometimes it's just the events that post the results, but sometimes they don't even post it. You have Chen Shan that post the top 8 results,
Yeah.
but then Twitter goes so fast, so if you don't see it in the hour, so maybe you won't see it
Yeah,
ever.
tweets get lost. I mean,
Yeah,
even in a community like ours, which isn't the biggest, even on Twitter, it just gets lost. People are
yeah,
tweeting every day about different things, so yeah,
yeah.
it's really
That's
annoying.
it's really annoying. I love Twitter, but when you need this kind of informations, like, yeah, what happened in the tournament yesterday? I couldn't see that, and then you can't find the informations because in Twitter everything goes so fast. So I really thought that making a website with tournament stories, beauty highlights, it would really help the community to grow up and to just be informed, and to make the players important too. I think it's very very crucial to make a website like this, because when I see sites like Heaven Tabs that are very important for the all communities, I see that sometimes they post about Soul Calibur, but it's not all the times. And I wanted a site like this where people could be informed of what we need about the community. And I love event hubs because when I want to see results for, I don't know, a Street Fighter 5 a Tekken tournament,
Hmm.
then I always go in there, because if I miss the action that happened in the last weekend, then I know that in this site I can see what happened. And I felt like we needed something like this for Soul Calibur.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us would agree that it's a really good place to go to engage with a lot of the news that's going on in Soul Calibur 6. Um,
Mm.
One of the best things that I kind of like about the site, aside from the fact that our very own Andy Root is front and center on that news site, is
Yeah.
the streams on the right hand side of all people playing Soul Calibur 6. So, you know, right now we can see Party Wolf is streaming,
Yeah, 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 sure, right?
but
I really like that.
it also really helps out people that may not be that big of that don't have a big following, basically. So if you jump on the Soul Calibur community website, you might want to check out, I don't know, a tournament result, and on the right hand side you see somebody who's got maybe I don't know, 4 people watching them at any time, and nobody
Mm.
else is streaming Soul Calibur, give that a little click. Integrate in the community. What's like, say to them welcome if they've been playing for a long time. Offer sets, offer to play with them, offer to help them out with the community more. It's a really good website, and I think more people need to start using it. So I've put the link in the chat. Make sure you all go check it out.
I'll do
Recently, I
it.
was going to say recently, a world map has been added, so you can add yourself as a player. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Because I wanted that. When you check tournaments, sometimes when I watch American or Japanese stream, sometimes I'm not sure who is this player. Like
Yeah.
I see I know the name, but sometimes I just don't know the face because I see them on Discord, I
Mm.
see them on Twitter. But then when I see them on stream, sometimes when I don't see the name directly, I'm like, oh, I don't know who this is. And when you go to events and then you see many faces and you don't know the names of everybody, I felt that it's useful to at least have somewhere a player's profile with their picture so that you can recognize them when you see them in tournament, and then you can go directly to talk to them if you recognize and if you talked before on Discord or something like this. So I think it can create good relationships. Then also knowing the story of people, I think it's important because in every community you really need to know, you really need to share storytelling. You you have to describe the player's history through Soul Calibur because it's part of the legacy.
Oh,
So
100%.
I really think that having these informations somewhere is important. And having like Celeleb worked a lot in when the invitational happened.
Hmm.
So he made a portrait about every player. So I also asked to the players that I knew to reply these questions, and everybody replied and so fastly. I'm so grateful about that to the players. But it's so great to have information to know. So which opponent skill doesn't want to fight, for example, or how does he train?
Is there
How
anybody that skill doesn't want to fight? That dude is a beast. He can beat anybody in the world.
I think that he actually maybe didn't want to fight Yutoto like at first because
Mm.
Yutoto beat him, but he was prepared for everybody. And at first, when in the interview, I think yeah he said that Yutoto was the strongest player that he doesn't want to face first, I guess.
Mm.
But when it was the day of the tournament, and then they made an interview of him, and they asked the same question, and he said, "No, I'm ready for everybody." And I'm like, "Wow, that's a true champion here." Yeah, that's a true champion. He wants to play like against everyone. He doesn't care, and I think that it's really inspiring.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's the people's champ as well as the actual world champion. The guy
Yeah,
is so humble. He's so fun to watch. Even when
yeah,
he loses, he's never not got that smile on his face. It's
yeah.
incredible.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I feel like it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. Uh, when he still has fun when playing, if he wins or loses, he's fine with it. Some people get really depressed after loss,
Yeah.
and then for him, if he gave everything in this match and then he lost, he would feel like, "Oh, okay, I will train better and get stronger, and it's fine." He's this kind of player and champion.
Skill confirmed, actually Goku.
Yeah. Oh, really? I don't know how, but yeah, he's so amazing because he mostly play online. That's crazy.
Does
It's
he?
so crazy, yeah.
Does he
Because
play
he
on
lives in the
PS4?
south. Yeah, on PS4, but online.
Oh,
But
okay.
PC, sorry. He plays on PC.
Oh,
But
okay.
the thing is that he lives in the south of France where there's not a community around
Mm.
where he can train with. And so he mostly play online. And then when he goes to tournament, of course, he would go to a lot of offline sessions organized in the hotels, things like this. But he cannot go to all the offline sessions we organize in Paris, for example.
That's a
So
shame.
yeah, that's a shame, and I can't imagine all the potential he could have, even more if he could have
I
this
don't think we want to
training.
give him more potential. I think we need to keep him in the south in a cage until it's time for a tournament.
Yeah, yeah, I can't imagine that. So yeah,
So
see,
from working on the website and being around the Soul Calibur community for almost over 20 years, you've said, what would
yeah.
you want to see more from the community? Would it be more content creation, going to more offlines? Just what would you personally like to see more of from this community?
Mm, actually, it's maybe content,
Mhm.
content, videos, guides on YouTube and things like this. I know some players do that, but I also think that you how can I say that? It's really hard to find these informations, and sometimes I feel like players don't share that much. So when someone posts a video, then I think that everybody should share. But sometimes they are like, "Oh no, he's showing stacks against my character and things like this."
Oh god, I hate that.
So they don't want to share it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you don't have to think this way. And me, when the season 2 was released, I shared a lot of videos on Twitter,
Mhm.
and some players did that too. But I feel like sometimes some players want to hide and they don't want to share. And I really hope that everybody can share the techniques and don't keep that secret, you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's
I
important
think-
to share content with each other, like not only because of how close we are as a community, but just because of the nature of the game. It's a fighting game. We want people to improve. We want more people going to tournaments. We want more people being confident in their characters and being able to play them to the best of their ability. And
yeah,
if you're busy keeping tech to yourself, it's just not going to help anything.
yes, that's true. So when I see, well, I mean, for example, when I wanted to look after Leroy Smith combos, because I played the new season of Tekken with the new characters,
But okay, I
I
need to
was
ask you
like,
about that. But yeah, carry on.
yeah, yeah, that's funny. And then one day after, there was already a whole video about about his combos, and like, wow, it's so easy to get videos um on Tekken when you're a Tekken player, even if you're new, even if you're not competitive, you want an information, you find it, and it's really easy. But I felt that in Soul Calibur it's still hard to to just find a combo video. But I made one for Shangfa, and I know that it's not easy to make one because like 2 months after that, my video was already has been. Because the combos are not working anymore. I'm like, oh no, I'm so depressed about that. So I just post them on Twitter waiting for the new patch coming because I know the new patch is gonna be released soon.
Mhm.
They say that on Twitter recently. And I'm like, okay, I cannot make any guide, any combo video if the game is not fixed yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, you see, because even 2B, when she was released, she changed so much times. Every 3 months you have a new patch and then the combo change, the properties are not the same, she's not safe in this move anymore, she's safe in this move. And then yeah, you cannot make a
Too many
guide
changes.
when the characters are changing so much. So I really hope that in season 2 the game will be fixed finally, and so we can all make content videos. But for now, I feel that even if the game was fixed, there are still not enough contents. And so I hope that's a problem that will change soon.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have some top players that really want to make videos, but they don't have they don't know how to use softwares. Even me, it's so annoying to make one. So I feel like they need some help, but then it's hard to find players that can help with their skills.
Yeah, it's like we always say on this podcast, and like I will always shout from the rooftops on Twitter, on my stream, wherever I am. Don't be afraid to just ask people for help. Like, talk to
Yeah.
somebody who knows how to edit, who knows how to mix, who knows how to like manipulate the camera for, I don't know, like an MLG montage or something. Just
Yeah.
talk to people and make sure that YouTube content, Twitch content, any content that you release
Mm.
works for the community. Even if it doesn't have the biggest production value, it doesn't matter because you will get better the more that you do it. And like Kayane says, we just need more of it.
Yeah, we really need more of it. And the season 2 is perfect to attract new people and of course the Soul Calibur World Tour. So it's really the time to make content that could attract more players because it's the future of the community. With that World Tour, we are almost sure that the season 3 is gonna come out someday because I feel like that in a company strategy, you cannot stop after only 1 year. You see,
Oh
if they're
yeah.
just starting 1 year world tour, I feel like it needs to have a second year at least because the first year always is a test, and they make things better and better after every event. And then in the next season is gonna be better because they had more experience. But here we have also it's the Tekken World Tour and Dragon Ball Fighter World Tour company that is making the Soul Calibur World Tour, so they
Yeah.
already have experience. But they also need to attract as much as possible the Soul Calibur community. And I feel that once they attract this community, then they cannot let it go. So that's why I'm very confident about season 3 from
There's
the from the development team.
yeah, 100%. Like you say, the first season or the first year is just, testing the waters, see how it works out. And as Okubo said, season 2, we're the reason that season 2 happened because of the community. And now we have
Yeah.
a world tour. We've got, unfortunately, we don't have the dojo system, but we do have a world tour with events that will give you points towards the finals and to make sure that you get into it. So it's inevitable that it will be season 3.
Mm.
It can't not be. And
Yeah.
if they go to the end of season 2 and we don't get a season 3, it's going to be hell for Bamco. It's going to be such a bad idea. They can't not
Yeah.
pump money into this game now.
Yeah, especially because the community, I think, is going on well now, and yeah, you cannot let it go. And also, I think that when you have this image where saying that you made a season 2 because the community asked for it and is really dedicated, if the community is still getting as much dedicated and passionate about the game the year after, then you you have to continue this way
Yeah.
because you cannot abandon them when they are really giving their best. So I think that Bandai Namco actually they have a lot to do in the esports scene, and when you release a game like a Tales of game, like a Dark Soul, any game from Bandai Namco, so it takes 3 months that they will talk about this game. But with an esport game like Tekken and Soul Calibur, you can talk about this game
Mhm.
for more than 3 months. You can talk about as long as there is a scene. So it's an image for them. It's a way to talk about the company even if the game was released 3 years ago, because
Yeah.
they're still making patch. They still have videos about the characters to show. They have guides. They can have tutorials from the players. They have tournaments every week to show in the social networks. You can't do that with a game like a Tales of.
Yeah,
Once
it's
it's
true.
released, it's released, and everybody play at home. but then you don't share it with the world after maybe 1 month of streaming.
Hmm.
But with a game like Soul Calibur Second, then you continue to talk about the company, and I think that they're realizing that with Tekken, Dragon Ball Fighters, and even Soul Calibur.
Oh
So
yes,
I think that's
definitely.
why they're pushing this, and that's the right way to go. I really, really hope
110% agree.
I really hope that they continue to support these competitive games because I think that it's the best way to talk about a company. After um, the 3 months of marketing and communication strategy that every game has, I feel like competitive games are very strong for the company.
Mm,
And it doesn't cost that much to be good at communication and to have a good community manager
100%.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, to support the community like every day. Doesn't cost that much, I feel, compared to what it can bring to the company.
No, I'm in complete agreement, to be honest. Just to kind of go back to what we were talking about in terms of content creation.
Mm,
On YouTube, yes, we are currently relying mostly on Scallywag, but
yeah.
I don't want to diminish the achievements of other people. So, on Twitch, we obviously have the guys from Elf who are doing a bunch of weekly stuff. We've had the first to tens, we've had the extended
Yeah.
interviews, and we've also had what is it, the character guide from Holy Carp about Ivy. Like we've also got America who are doing content creation. Like that's
Mm,
to be expected, you know. They're a massive place with a massive community, and they're doing a lot of stuff. But yes,
mm,
while this is very much a Soul Calibur EU related podcast and piece of content, we always want other people to come and watch it. We want people from across the world, across communities to come and watch this stuff. So
mm, mm.
definitely send this to everybody that you can and support everybody else's content because it only helps us as a community when we all come together and share things rather than just kind of separate us.
Yeah, that's if there was a time where you were thinking to make content and then you're like, oh, I'm lazy, oh, I don't want to do this, oh, it takes time, oh, not that many players are interested. If you think this kind of things, right now you have a Soul Calibur World Tour, so everybody that wants to compete is going to look for these contents.
Yes,
So that's the
exactly.
moment to do it. Evo Japan is end of January, but not everybody can go to Japan. So I think that a lot of players are going to start with a Soul Calibur in beginning of next year in 2020 and start to go to competitions in US and Europe, and I hope there will be plenty of them. But as soon as we will have a date of these tournaments, I can say I'm sure it's human nature. Everybody are going to look for guys.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's not starting now because they didn't communicate about which events is going to be in the world tour. But as soon as they announce it, then it will be the perfect time to just publish your guides, tutorials, anything, because people will rush on them just to get better before going to the tournament.
Yeah, of course. It is unfortunate that they didn't tell us which events that have already been
Yeah.
planned will be Edge Masters and Edge Master Pluses and stuff like that. But it will be
Yeah.
released soon. So get on
Mm-mm.
those guides, people. Start making them.
Yeah, I
Get
feel
those
like
views.
anyway, I say that in a TV show that I had recently in a sport TV French show, and I said I didn't wait for Soul Calibur World Tour before to travel. I already traveled before, and the fact that there is one, it will just make things more official and maybe get more money. But I felt that even without this, even without this money, without this thing being official, I felt that the community was already so motivated. So I just think that with the world tour, we just know more,
Yeah.
more where we are going to go for sure. But I feel that the players that traveled last year are going to get more motivated, and we will certainly gain more players that already travel to tournaments, that participate to several games, but maybe they will be more focused on this game,
Mm.
and we will have new players interested in being in the scene. So we have to make sure to accept everybody
Yes.
and
Please do not gatekeep. Everybody is welcome in the Soul Calibur community.
yeah, and yeah, I am sure that there will be also a war between organizers. But
Possibly.
I support everybody. I support every tournament. Of course, there are some like mix up that I would like more to be a world tour step, because it's in France and it was the biggest entrance for Soul Calibur in Europe,
Yeah.
and also every American players that came really enjoyed the tournament. So of course there's some tournaments that I would prefer to be on the tour, but I would travel to every step of the tour, but also those that are not in the world tour. So
Yeah. Support your locals,
I
support
was
your monthlies, support your weeklies. Don't just go because you might get world tour points. Go because you want to play Soul Calibur.
exactly, yeah. And it's so fun to have this community traveling worldwide, and it's a really a world family. And it's funny because at NEC, we had an interesting discussion with someone that came from also other communities, and he said it's funny because in Soul Calibur community, when we want to go eat somewhere, like dinner time,
Mm-hmm.
we are like 30 people going out looking for a restaurant. And they're like, I don't see that in any other community. We are like three, four people, three, yeah. We are several group of people, of maybe three people going to anywhere, any restaurant, and then we meet later.
Yeah.
The Soul Calibur, it was funny because it was a big problem at every lunch, every dinner, because we were like 30 or 40 people from the Soul Calibur community asking, where are we going to eat? Let's go. And I'm like, there's no way a restaurant would accept 40 people like that. We have
That's
to split up
incredible.
everybody. Yeah, but it's so funny because it's also true that I see a lot of community, and I don't see that besides Soul Calibur. We are not 30 or 40 people to don't want to be separated.
We all want to stick together, which is
We want to
understandable.
eat together. We want to eat together. It's so funny that it's happening this way, and yeah, I feel like it's a big family that really need all this support, and we all deserve it because even if there's sometimes some drama and things like this, I feel like there's this thing, kind of link that attach people together
Yeah.
through the years. And it's been a long time that we know some players, and even if I don't know much about the personal life of everybody, I feel that every time we go traveling for tournament, we put this personal life outside, and then we just want to enjoy some Soul Calibur family time. And I
Oh,
think it's
that is so
awesome.
cute.
I think it's really awesome because you don't know what people lives at home. So I guess that people have sometimes some family problems, work problems, anything um, that would make you feel bad. But when you go on weekend to a tournament, you just want to have fun with the game and with this second family, and
Mm.
then you just enjoy. And I feel like it's really like this with a Soul Calibur community. Everybody brings their best, their their best, and they want to prove a lot also because they want to show they are the best. That's Solomon, the best AB. They want to show that they're the best in America or in Japan. They want to show many things through the game. It's sometimes a lot of personal values. They want to show that they have a stronger mind. They want to outcome their weakness, to outcome the pressure. Um, they want to prove many things. And yeah, I don't know many things about players' personal life, but I feel like Soul Calibur is so important to them that they on the weekend they forget about all this and they just want to be the best, and not the best, but the best person and player they can be in this weekend, because it means so much to them. And so personal life is being as a side of that.
Yeah, I agreed 100%. I was just chuckling at what Johnny and Zero were putting in chat. We should have a Soul Calibur Thanksgiving dinner and a Soul Calibur Eid. I think
Oh
that would
yeah,
be incredible.
KDC, yeah, KDC did that with a New Jersey community. He made
Really?
a Thanksgiving dinner, yeah, with Jaxol, over
That's
player.
sick.
Yeah, I found it so amazing. And yeah, I think I can do something like this. We don't have Thanksgiving in France. But yeah, when I talked about offline sessions, and the whole French Discord was like, oh, can I bring cakes to come to be invited? I'm like, yeah, I love chocolate cakes. And you had Ryzen saying, oh, what can I do so that I get invited? I say, oh, I love chocolates. Please bring some.
Wow, okay. So
Yeah, but
when
then it's fine
if people
because
find Kayane at any event, give her chocolate.
just give me chocolates. I
And
love it.
Korean barbecue.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Exactly, exactly.
No, I feel like it's funny because you can, I think you can share more than just Soul Calibur with this community.
Oh, yes, completely. So, we don't have a lot of time left, so I will ask you one final question.
Mm.
And as if we haven't covered it already, if you are new to the community and you haven't been enticed, Ayane, what would you say to any potential newcomers to Soul Calibur?
Just go for it. I mean,
I mean, yeah.
some yeah, I mean sometimes some people are like, oh, but the game is old game for 20 years. I'm new to the community. I don't know what to do. As I said previously, you have some very strong players actually that started with sex, and it doesn't matter that a player like me that is here for 20 years is still playing the game. It doesn't mean that I'm going to beat you 100%.
Hmm.
Every person counts, and when I stream on the game, and then I say to the chat, it's mostly for it's mostly in French. Sometimes that I do that, but I say that if you're new to the game, doesn't matter to me. You can ask me to play. I would play with you as long as it is on computer. And people are like, "What? We can play with you?" And I say, "Of course, you can play with me. Just invite me on Steam, and we can play." And then it happens to me a lot that we actually play, and I see their level, I see their new, and I tell them advice in live. So then they will watch the replay, and it gets get better. But the fact that I said, yeah, of course you can play with me and train it, that to me it's fine, I can advise you. They're like, oh my god, it's so good, it's so nice. They didn't expect this, but I feel like some people they have this kind of ideas, but just the fact to say it's okay, I can help you, it's a lot. I
Yes.
think it's a lot for new players. So whenever you can, if you have some good experience with the game already, and then you feel like someone wants to play you but doesn't ask, just say, "Do you want to play?" It's as simple as that.
Yeah. The
When I
first
go,
step is reaching out your hand and saying, "Do you want to experience this with me?"
yeah, of course. And I see that a lot in tournament. When it's just casuals, I go to anywhere if a station is free to have casuals, and there's someone next to me I don't know. I'd say, "Hey, do you want to play?" And he's like, "Oh, I didn't want to ask you. I was I was worried to bother you." I'm like, "No, never. We're here to play." So it doesn't matter the level of the person. Don't think, "Oh, I just want to play against the best," or it doesn't matter to play against new beginners because it's a waste of time. Don't think like this, because we all evolve in this community, and if it's bigger, it will be good for everybody.
Hmm.
And these new players could could maybe in the future be your best opponents or your training partners, because you made them play and willing to get stronger. So I always felt this way, when I feel that sometimes some players don't want the opponents to get stronger because they're afraid to lose.
Oh
And
yeah, I hate that mindset so
I
much.
hate that. And I really hate that, because I'm like, my ambitions are stronger than that. If you want to improve yourself, you have to help the other opponents to get stronger too.
Of
Otherwise, you're
course.
never gonna be stronger. So I'm the kind of players that feel this way. So anytime you're abusing of a technique that is always working on your opponent, please tell him.
Yeah, definitely. Uh,
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, that's amazing. Thank you very much, Kayane. We do have a question or two from the chat. Do you have
Yeah,
enough time? Is that
yeah, sure.
okay?
It's fine.
Perfect. So, Angel Step Style asks, what do you feel about X in season 2 so far?
Wow, I love her. I actually really love her, because I always played X in every version of Soul Calibur, and so I know her very well, and I experienced every version. And in Sex, I felt that well, in the previous patch, she had to take a lot of risk, a lot of reads, to be strong. And I felt like in the first to 10, she could be very scary. But in the first to two, where people are in tournaments and we don't have many matches to adapt and to react to opponents' habits and yeah, moves that they usually use when you just play like this, it's really hard to guess and anticipate and just to adapt. And I felt that Shangfa was really made to long set matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was not bad, but she was middle, I think. And in the first two, sometimes it really depends on the open on the player. It really depends on the player, and sometimes it's so unfair, because you can guess right for 10 times and then guess wrong for 2 times and die.
A
So when you feel this
little
way
bit
at
frustrating, yeah.
this tournament, it's really frustrating. But I feel like right now in the new season, she has a lot of new tools that are very strong, that can make your opponent crazy, and you have enough. Really, you really have enough options now, because before you have a stance, and then you have a kick option, A option, B option, and the throw, and also do nothing.
Yeah, just raw stance.
Yeah, but then if you go to the SXS stance or the PXS stance, it's the same moves. And then I always say to Project Soul and Okubo that before, for example, Soul Calibur 4, because she's really Soul Calibur 4 like, I said she has the tones, she had different throws, but also big guard crush, depending on how many times she taunts the opponent.
Mm.
And I felt that it was so amazing, because it made new moves depending on how many times she taunted the opponent. And in Soul Calibur 6, it was always the same moves, doesn't depend on any criteria. So I felt really bored. And that's what I said to a
Okay.
producer. And now she had new moves in the PXS stance, and even the SXS stance has been improved. She has a cross throw, so everybody before they were like, "Oh, I'm so afraid of the throw, so I'm just gonna duck." And then now she has a cross throw, so even if you guess your opponent, you have better solution to make big damage. So I'm so happy about this.
So once again, it's Kayane's fault that she spoke to a producer and gave X new moves and the throw
No,
circumstances.
Yeah, maybe.
Just all blame Kayane for the
I felt
problems.
this way, but I think that every Shangfa player agreed with me, and
Oh, for
now
sure.
I'm very happy about the changes, and I feel so much more fun when I play her now than to be honest, because I feel to
Ah.
be is still like season one. She doesn't have that many new changes that will make you play her in a very different way. She's quite the same. And with soul attack, we give you the same kind of pressure than the soul charge before. And with X, it's I think it's a whole new pressure. It changes it
Yeah.
very much.
Just
So it's
a
so
just
much
a
fun
bit.
for me. It's so much fun for me to just rediscover the character. Yeah.
Perfect. Do we have time for one more question or do you have to dash?
Yes, don't worry.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
I will take one from Nashly because we've already had one from Angel Step. And
Yeah.
that will be the last question of the stream. How do you feel, Kayane, about the new mechanics of Season 2? Soul attacks, resist impacts, REs, etc.
Hello. Yeah. So I'm so happy. I was about to speak French. I'm like, no, no.
Maybe one
Yeah,
or two people will be able to understand you.
so I'm very actually surprised. I'm so surprised because when they say, yeah, season two is going to happen, I'm like, oh, okay. I asked in an interview, so is all the characters are going to have one new move or maybe several moves? And Okubo said, one move at least, maybe more. But then you have so many moves that's on you for every character. And it's not just a balance patch, it's a world changing balance patch. Everything change. Every
Mm.
character has changes. You have Soul Attack that is so new now. You can use them in so many situations. You have to know everything about every character. And you have a resist impact too that is truly inspired by Soul Calibur 5.
Yep,
And
definitely.
then you have a reversal change. So it's really not a lazy season two. I'm so surprised they actually had the time to do that with such a small team. And even if they only added a soul attack and said, oh, it's just season two, you have a soul attack for every character, just like the new V skill for Street Fighter 5. I would have said, oh, that's amazing. I would have said that. But now they have a whole new game
I mean,
and it takes so much time to get used to it.
definitely. We were all expecting like one or two moves maximum for each character, and then some characters we kind of thought weren't getting any. And then every character gets like 4 or 5 new moves, a soul attack, buffs, nerfs, and behavior changes. It's
Yeah,
I have no idea
amazing.
how much work and how early on they were actually working on that from.
Yeah, they are working on it since a long, long time without even saying that to us. And I feel like it's just amazing, and we are very, very lucky to have such a team, dedicated, passionate. You know, like when you see Osaka at every stream, at every event, he cries. I've never seen anyone in a any development team that cries. Uh, Besides Project Soul team, even Okubo cries. It's
Oh,
it's so emotional. You could have seen that at Evo Japan last year. There was Osaka at the end of the tournament. He was crying so much. It was amazing. Did you see that? I'm like, what? Are you Osaka? Why are you crying? He said, I'm so happy. And then he hugs everybody. I'm
yeah.
like, wow, he's Japanese and he hugs everybody and he cries. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? It's just because he used to be a very strong Japanese top player in the game.
Hmm.
He's so passionate. He's now working for his favorite fighting game in the development team.
It's so
And
good, isn't it?
he used to be, yeah, competitive player. So he knows the scene and he sees that improving. And now he sees players achieving big dreams by going to Evo, and he was there, and then it makes him so emotional. Even on the last stream, he cried. You're like, oh my god, this team, you can't say anything, but it's the most dedicated in the fighting games industry. They don't have a lot of
Nobody could
money.
say different.
They can't
Nobody.
say different. When you see that this weekend, the Capcom Pro Tour doesn't have a stream for the last chance, and they can't say why,
Yeah.
it's so hard to see that after so many years of World Tour, and then you have a Soul Calibur team that in any time they have difficulties, they would always say to a community, "We are sorry, please wait." And when they say "please wait," then it happens to be the next week, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it goes so fast that you didn't plan like that, but when you see the change, you understand that it can take some time, but. I think that we are very so lucky to have them. So any yeah, when I see the season 2 right now, I'm very happy. Of course, there are some bugs. There are so many things that they couldn't see at first, but now with the help of the players, so that's why never hesitate to actually show things on Twitter because they are really looking into everything. Never hesitate to share things on Twitter because they are so dedicated to the community. They look at Twitter all the time. They look at tournaments. They watch every tournament, and they talk about players. They know the players. They follow the players. They support the streams, the tournaments. I don't see any other developers that do that for their game, the fighting game. So we have to realize how lucky we are.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. And I also think that is a perfect note to end on.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, once again, if I can just get everybody and myself to thank Kayane for coming onto this podcast. We started this podcast just as a way to have a little bit of a different flavor of content coming out of the EU community. And
Yeah,
we
that's
had no idea that on the 4th episode we'd be able to get you on. So thank you so
oh.
much for giving us an hour and a half of your time talking to the community and just being an all-around awesome person for the community.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'm so happy to be still a part of this family. I grew up as a sister. Now I'm like a big mother. And when you have some players that tell you, "Oh, I grew up with you," yeah, you feel old. But yeah, I'm 24 now. So everybody, thank you very much, and please also support the Soul Calibur community website so you can share the articles we make on it. We have an events page where you can follow every event going on in the world. So it doesn't matter where you come from. You can see in the tournament that are happening in Asia, US, Europe. Doesn't matter. You can see a lot of things happening in the world. So don't hesitate to just go to offline tournaments. Participate also to online tournaments if you can. Create a Twitter account. Follow the community. Just support everybody. Be a stream kind monster. And, and then yeah, that would be very nice. Thank you, everyone.
Exactly. So thank you very much once again. You all know where you can find Kayane and myself on social media, so we're not going to do any plugging. We're actually going to go and raid the Soul Calibur Italia Twitch channel because they're having a monthly online tournament that our very own Andy Rue is playing in. So
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and raid them real quick. So just before it counts us down, thank you everybody. Thank you Kayane, and I will personally see you on Sunday for Soul Calibur EU tournament online. Have a good day.
Bye bye.